Are you telling me the voice of doubt unapologetically sneaks in? Who are you kidding? It says. Welcome to the Enthu English Podcast. I'm Klaudia, and today I'm going to talk about nothing else but imposter syndrome in language learning. If you're listening to this, I'm guessing you've had a thought or two like, am I really making progress in learning English? What if I sound silly or make mistakes when I speak? Do native speakers judge me based on my language skills? Can I ever sound as fluent as the speakers I admire? And will I ever get where I want to be? Right, such thoughts might keep popping up in your head, and they are usually unwanted, uninvited, and unapologetic. There's no apology. They're not asking you if they might come in. Where does that come from? Believe it or not, it's likely a result of how much you already know that opens your eyes to the vast sea of knowledge and information you haven't gained yet. And I did it on purpose. I use the word see on purpose because that's the kind of impression you might get. There's so much more in front of you to learn, and it might be overwhelming. The good news is you don't have to worry. It's not a disorder. It's not a pathology, although it's often presented as such, especially as the word syndrome suggests that there's something wrong with us. You already know that my passion is teaching, and it's all about teaching you how to confidently express your true selves through English and courageously embrace this comfortable discomfort as you move toward your learning goals. So now I invite you to stay with me to learn 3 ways, and there's a bonus step as well, to foster this authentic self-expression in English and to deal with this feeling like you are inadequate, you're not good enough, and you shouldn't even open your mouth to say anything in English before you know it's correct. It's not a disorder, it's not a pathology, it's totally okay to feel this way, and as I said, it has a lot to do with how much you realize you already know. It seems to me that there's a sort of unspoken rule that blindly guides us towards self-defeat. Defeat in the sense of keeping your thoughts to yourself and fearing how you will sound to your own ears and how the ears of your listener will judge you. I have the irresistible impression, myself, that we tend to wait until we feel fully confident, fully competent, fully proficient to speak a foreign language we're learning. Isn't that frustrating? It's like we're not giving ourselves permission to just communicate at every step of the way, at every turn of our learning journey. However you call it, we seem to stop ourselves halfway through our thinking process because we're afraid, we're fearful of what is about to jump out around the corner. What's worse, such a reaction can bleed into your perception of yourself as a learner of English, making you unable to power through this discomfort toward resilience. And now, when I use the word resilience here, in the context of intellectual experiences or intellectual endeavors, I'm referring to the ability to be like a ball, incredibly flexible and likely to bounce back from any failure. Be it, and here goes this list. Let's say it's this type of situation when you're giving a clumsy response in English. Clumsy, so not so successful and satisfying as you would wish, especially when there's something you have to say on the spot, like when you need to react immediately, spontaneously, when you need to think on your feet, or not getting all the details right at first sound, or using the wrong word in a given context, or asking a question and then realizing, oops, it's not what you meant, or confusing what the speaker said and being sure your answer was correct. On and on goes the list. Sound familiar? I bet. I think that once you can approach such situations in a resilient and flexible way, you will be able to have another and another and another attempt to say what's on your mind, even when you feel unsure and your mind calls you a fraud.
You're listening to the Enthu English Podcast. I'm Klaudia, and here's my invitation for you to join me in a full-time conversation lesson to dive right into the topic of imposter syndrome in the professional setting. Do you ever feel like a fraud in your own field of work? Do you ever get a sense that others are much more knowledgeable and capable than you, and that you're just pretending to be an expert? Worry not. Join me in this conversation to develop your language fluency around this topic and grow your confidence in dealing with this experience. The lesson consists of materials at an intermediate and even a highly advanced level. Alright, back to today's topic.
Now the question is, what shall I do? What to do when you feel fake and inauthentic when speaking English? Well, based on my 9-year teaching practice and probably most importantly, personal experience, I'll offer some ideas now that you can consider right away to tame your voice of doubt that whispers in your ear. Others can speak English way better than me. Let them keep the floor. Oh, yeah, exactly. This type of feeling, this type of thinking. Here's what I would love to vigorously suggest so you can be beyond this. You can overcome this. You can tackle this. Tip 1. Simple as it may sound, give yourself permission to feel this feeling. Why not go with a simple yet powerful idea? Just let yourself feel that emotion and decide how you're gonna react. That puts you in the driver's seat automatically, giving you control and making you the boss of your feelings. You're the boss here, you're in charge. In other words, you become the one calling the shots, if you like. You become a deliberate chooser because you choose, you decide how you're going to react. I imagine in such situations, I use this technique and I imagine myself saying, okay, Klaudia, I get it. I know you're trying to save me from messing up big time, but you got this. I truly got this. I can handle it on my own. And this way, you're taking charge, not letting the feeling boss you around. It's all about being in control and facing things yourself head on. Just you, in charge. Tip 2. Dare to sound unimpressive. Just let the thought get out. Say whatever comes to your mind. Feeling like letting go? No, just say it. And why? Why should you do this? I've observed that it's common to become aware of the quality of your thought or idea, and no matter what language, honestly, no matter, to become aware of your thoughts and ideas the second you say it out loud. I cannot count how many times actually I have caught myself believing that my idea was brilliant until it hit my ears. And the opposite has been true too, because some of the ideas I doubted initially turned out to be worth sharing and bringing to life, bringing out into the world for everyone to see and hear. Plus, another idea I want to share is if you give your thoughts a chance, if you give them actually a voice, your conversation partner, someone listening to, to you, speaking with you, might actually be willing to get you closer to what you mean. But what do you mean? Can you say it in other words? Can you rephrase that? Isn't it a valuable learning moment where both of you are creating meaning? Priceless. And tip 3, I suggest you keep record of what has gone well. It's about celebrating those small wins. And you can see them as checkpoints in your learning experience. You can use them as reminders of your growing skills. And I see them not as exceptions, because they are the expanding list of rules, proving you're capable. And they testify you can get your message across. You can be understood. You can navigate communication successfully. Just look at it. Look at me. Look at it. And most importantly, I think that each such small win makes you a better speaker as long as you realize what has happened and you can learn from it, which in turn can help you bounce back from these little, sometimes bigger bumps along the way. Now, take a moment to look back. Recall a time when you went where you are now. How far have you come? Reflect on that question for a while. Let it sink in. Stay with it. It's impressive, isn't it? And now I couldn't help myself but share with you the 4th one. My bonus tip is what I call fall gracefully. What is it about? I've come to believe that you don't lose, you win when you pick yourself up after a fall. Okay, so what does that mean in practice? A little more explanation probably is necessary. When you take your time to zoom in on what went badly, or in the wrong direction, or was less than satisfying according to your personal standards, there's so much to dig into. It's a free learning resource right in front of you at your fingertips. I like to illustrate this practice using a metaphor of analyzing a pebble. A pebble is a little stone. Simply, the idea is simple. Just take your mistake in your hands. You can visualize this as if it were a pebble washed out of the river onto the shore. And on your walk along the shore, you come across this pebble. You take it into your hand, turn it around a few times, inspect every side very carefully, and save the information it reveals about itself for future use. You might even share this experience with others, giving them a glimpse into your learning experience. I see it as, I also associate it with being a geologist or detective. So approach it as, choose whatever you want, whatever metaphor you like. Approach it as a geologist, inspecting the wonders of the Earth's surface, or as a curious detective. I prefer the latter. I've been practicing this detective-style analysis of my mistakes, including driving a car or negotiating the best type of treatment, let's say. I'll admit it's not always possible. It takes time and attention to do it well, and to do it regularly. Exactly, to keep doing it takes even more. But when you do make it your habit, it'll come to you naturally, and you'll find yourself collecting a record of your progress, which you can then turn to when yet another imposter episode steps in your way and pulls your confidence into doubt, when it pulls your confidence down. And here's the exercise I would like to share with you to get better at falling gracefully. So if you want to practice falling gracefully, do the following. Step number 1, go back to the situation. Think about what happened. Try to remember all the details, like who was there, what you said, and how things played out. Imagine it's like playing a scene from a film. Step number 2, find out what didn't click. It's just about taking a closer look at what went wrong and why. What's the why? Maybe you stumble on a tricky word, or the conversation took an unexpected turn suddenly. Yeah? It's like, again, become a detective, or maybe put on this detective hat, put yourself in the shoes of a detective, figure out the clues to understand the problem. Where was the breakdown? Where did it exactly happen? Step number 3, give it a positive twist. It's your story. It happened, yeah? Imagine you're the director of this film. Rewrite the scene to make it a success. If you got stuck, think about what you could have said differently or how you could have handled it better. It's like turning a plot twist into a happy ending for future reference. And now the last step, practice the improved version. Imagine yourself in that situation again, but with your new and improved script. Practice saying the lines out loud, and that's the most important part. Do it out loud. It's like rehearsing for a play. The more you practice, the more confident and comfortable you will feel because you will have got used to the voice, your own voice, the way you sound. So I suggest this type of exercise so you can learn to react naturally in the future. I'm pretty sure that the ultimate goal is to develop the ability to respond naturally and spontaneously in similar situations down the road. Isn't actually learning all about this? When you make a mistake while communicating, even in your native language, in Polish, for example, you take it to heart and you make sure not to repeat this mistake again. Yeah? And it's easy to remember what went wrong, especially when emotions are there attached to this experience. Now, this collection, if you decide to grow this collection, it will become particularly useful when facing moments of self-doubt, when this voice of doubt sneaks in. And I think it can offer a reliable source of evidence that you're making progress, that you're learning. With regard to this exercise, you can choose to do it mentally, so as a mental note, or write it down in a specially dedicated notebook. I have one, I have been collecting these moments, mistakes in this notebook, or rather several such notebooks. And I imagine you could give it the following title: All that has gone off track, all that I have turned into win, and all that has made me the speaker I am today. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Thank you for listening to the Enthu English Podcast. There's so much more to come. As usual, please remember, give yourself permission. Dare to sound and impressive, and celebrate those small wins. And ultimately, fall gracefully. Analyze mistakes like a detective, like a geologist, if you like, and keep moving forward. Now, what's on this horizon? You might be asking yourselves, yeah, I couldn't miss this. How about next time? How about considering a fresh perspective on grammar with me? Grammar, yes, we're going to think a lot about grammar, and actually I'm going to suggest a different way of thinking about grammar so that you can make friends with it and you can use it to your greatest advantage. I'm going to show you how you can imagine, or maybe how you can turn away from imagining it as a leg twisting monster to actually seeing it as a tool at your feet, ready to serve you. Please join me next time as we explore how to tame grammar and use it to express emotions, meanings, and so much more beyond what words suggest. Thank you again. Keep putting English first wherever your mind wanders. Until next time, bye bye.